this episode later. It's pretty funny though.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
You're gonna
Sorry.
like it. You're gonna like it. You know you're gonna like it.
You always tell me that.
It's true. You're gonna like it. I promise. I mean, that's how it is. Sorry. All right. So, I can get my screens set up here. Okay. Good Lord, it's been a long day.
Hmm. I feel it.
Yep, yep, me too. Cranberry was super boring today. It was really slow, like slower than normal.
Hmm.
So, well, welcome people to the
Hmm.
podcast. So firstly, it is warehouse sale weekend. So make sure you go out there and dig some dollar books. I was out there for Golden Ticket Day yesterday. Got to hang out with some people. It was a good time. Um,
The usual
all
suspects.
no, not even all of them.
Oh, really?
Not all of them were definitely part of that, except for one. Um, but there were definitely some missing. But I also think because of school going back into session soon, plus Chris Roop is having his warehouse sale this weekend over in Toledo. It kind of probably you know pulled from a lot of different places. So
Hmm.
but um, reminder that next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend. So the 24th, 25th, you can find Todd down at the WV PopCon down in Morgantown with a ton of books that I have to load in the van this week. Um, then you'll find me out in Harrisburg at Harrisburg Comic Con. Um, I will have graphic novels, pop vinyls, some wall stuff, some $10 to $25 stuff, all good stuff. All good stuff. Not a lot of not a wallet breaker, but I'll have some good stuff. So if you're out in the Harrisburg area, come on and hang out. Or if you want to grab dinner one of those nights, I'm also by myself, so it'll be great. Um, so that same weekend on the 24th, that Saturday at our waterfront store, if you don't want to leave town and you just want to go and do something cool, CBCS is going to be there from 12 to 5 with Robert Hack doing a signing slash submission event. So Hack will sign your stuff and you can submit it right there, or he can just sign your stuff. I mean, I've literally had him this close to signing a baby one time. I got him to sign a water bottle. I got him to sign some other like random thing. Like I have a bunch of random stuff laying around my house to sign by Robert Hack because he will sign anything. It's awesome. He's a great guy. Make sure you go check him out and submit stuff. So how this is going to work? You're going to bring your submissions to CVCS. They're going to go, cool. This is how much it is. You'll pay for it at the register. We're going to send them all out together in one big order, and then they're going to come back to the store, and then we'll let you know when your stuff's here. You can pick it up. Right now, the return rate's around a 2 month window, and I have some actual stuff from our con that came back last week that I can show you, which is like I said, around the 2 month window.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm going to show some of these off right now, real quick.
I was going to say,
Uh,
speaking of that, happened to get a phone call this morning asking about grading and if we as a company do it. Now, I was doing the best to be like, no, we don't usually do it. I did mention the thing upcoming
the hack
here.
signing. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, but this gentleman was just looking for information, and to all those who are still new to our hobby and this, that, and the other, it's a personal preference on getting them done. Some do it for the cash grab, some do it for their personal, you know, uh, collections. It's all in your preference, and that's what I told this gentleman. Uh,
Yeah, because there was a guy that called Waterfront or emailed Waterfront or something. He eventually got to Todd, and it was about his Batman Beyond books,
mhm.
and he was like, "You guys grade like blah blah blah," and we kind of told him like we don't usually send it in, like we don't usually do big orders like this unless they're somewhere near us. So
Mhm.
that's why we do it at the show. That's why we do it. Our buddy Cody, who is our CBCS rep, happens to be in town next weekend for another thing. So he, asked if he could sit up, and I said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." Because we want to be able to offer that service to some of our customers because we don't do a lot of stuff with grading because usually we don't have books long enough for us to flip them like that, like to wait
Yeah.
for them to come back. Um, so yeah. So here's some examples of stuff I got back. So my 5 books I submitted to CBCS at our con. So this is a Maria Wolf variant for Cobra Commander 1 foil, signed, as you can see, and it came back 9.8. I'm excited about that. Then I have another Maria Wolf foil cover. This one's for Thundercats. You can kind of see Lion-O there. I'm trying to find like a good way to get light without it being
It's so hard
real
with the
bad.
hollow.
Yeah, but you can see her signature like
Yeah,
pops real good.
yeah.
And it also came back a 9.8.
Not it.
Um, then I sent out my showcase 22, 23, and 24. These all came back exactly how I thought they were going to come back. So my 22 came back at 2.5. Um, it's off-white coloring. Uh, any other notes here? Uh, no, it's just mostly off-white. Um, oh, I can scan for grading notes, which is even funnier. Um, but you can do that on all the books that you submit. So yeah, that was the 22. The 23 came back at 2.0. I also really like these new labels that they premiered last year. Showcase 24 came back at 3.0. So while like everybody's like, 98, it doesn't matter. Like those are books that you don't see a lot, and I physically read them before I saw it.
Yeah,
So like those copies. So I smelled the 60s,
yeah.
took it in. It was good
Well,
stuff.
again, this is talking about the. It's better to have the book in your possession than not have it at all.
Right.
And those gatekeeping slappers, it's if you have a 9.8 of that, you literally would have to go back in time to grab it and then come it to present day because there's no way on God's green earth that you're going to find 9.8s in that book, unless it was taken care of immaculately, and the older the book, the more difficult it is to take care of books like that, and I think some people who are the more amateur area of getting things slabbed, be happy with moderns. 9.8s happens all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but silver a little bit harder. Golden never happens. I have never seen a 9.8 in a golden book of any kind. At
Right.
least not in, like the years that I've been working with you guys or the years as a collector. I've never seen one.
Yeah, me either.
So,
In
it's
fact, I think the highest graded Golden Age book I think I ever saw was like 7.5.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
because
a
like those
rarity.
books, and they got loved so hard, right?
Yeah.
So, actually. Hold on. I'm gonna scan this little QR code thing, see what it says about this. I'm just curious at this point. Maybe. So my notes from the 24 are certified cream white, spine stress, small spine wear breaks, color front cover, small tears at staples, edge wear increases to cover breaks, color front cover, long colored pencil mark, indents top front cover, large stains, small foxing, and slight soiling on cover. So you get a lot of information, which is pretty cool in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
All right. I guess we can. Oh, let's apologize for last week. So, and this
yeah.
week a little bit. So last week, Justin went to see Slipknot, and I went to see Coheed and Primus, and it was all good, and we all had a lot of fun. And we just took
Mm,
a week off. We were sorry.
yeah,
We're more sorry that yesterday didn't work out, mostly because I had to babysit the warehouse, and I didn't know how long I was going to be there.
yeah.
Weirdly, I got home at 9 o'clock. Like, so had there been internet up there, I'd have been able to just do the podcast from the warehouse, and it would have been really awkward.
Yeah.
But there wasn't, so now we're doing it now.
And I
So yeah,
almost did just to, be forefront with all you guys. I almost didn't make it here this evening because my schedule, I'm doing workout programs and stuff like that. And it just happened to be just before this. So I just got in the door. I'm still in my gym clothes, kind of gross, actually, but I'm here to
good.
do
I
the
can smell you from
podcast.
here.
Yeah.
Smell that
Yeah.
musk. Good
It's
boy. So
okay.
anyway,
The dog's licking me clean. It's fine.
all
Like if
right.
I giggle, it's her tongue licking my leg, and
That's hilarious.
it's uh
All right. Why is that option not on it? Let me open. Let me try that. There we go. Okay, cool. Hey, my first book is Green Lantern. I'm gonna start this week. Suck it. Um,
I like the green machine.
I know, right? I think it's awesome. Um, so this book starts out where Hal is infiltrating Amanda Waller's, um, I guess, storage unit with a bunch of like a Mazo type robot guys. Um, he beats a lot of their asses. It's great. Um, then you see Alan Scott being imprisoned playing chess with one of those Amazo robots because the robot stole his rings power. Um, so then it moves on to where Hal really just kind of like utilizes all of the toys that are in this warehouse because these are all the things that Waller has stolen from, or not stolen, but like confiscated, I guess we'll say. So at one point he uses like the Toy Man's top, and um, then he uses the Condiment King's guns, and like he shoots at like one of the dudes. He's like, "Oh, I have spicy mustard in my eyes." Um, then he grabs like the Blue Devil's old trident, and he like one dude grabs a hold of it and he hits the button, and the rocket shoots off and he flies away. Um, Eventually, he comes to have to deal with that like a Meso style robot, and it doesn't really work out as well as we hoped for. Meanwhile, Carol Ferris is in the Tower of Fate with the Justice Society, and they're all having a meal together while they're trying to figure out how they're going to deal with what's going on with Waller and the Absolute Power storylines. Um, Ragman and one of the um, what the hell is his name? Brainiacs. One of the Brainiacs, Ragman, and Wildcat have a very stern conversation about things with a little bit from Stargirl. And they figure that they're going to use Carol as bait, as their eyes and ears, as an infiltration. Um,
That sounds like a
Then you
bad
cut to,
idea.
well, she definitely has that look of what did you just say? Fuck. Um, Meanwhile, back on Oa, like the big bad guys are still trying to find all the rest of the rings. They're still trying to find all the other people that have powers. Um, and they're all also trying to figure out what to do with Waller because they made like a bad deal with her. Um, cuts back to Hal fighting some more, um, and eventually, um, eventually he uses a wand, uh, and he says the magic words of abracadabra, and a big explosion happens. The Amazo robot thinks he's dead. He wakes up on Theranostia, where Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are all like, "You just appeared, and you brought all this stuff with you." So he somehow brought a lot of the piles of stuff that were hidden, um, or that were confiscated. You go back to Hub City. Carol comes out of Bates Tower, and just starts walking down the road, and this um, weird sort of gray lantern, we'll call it, just says like, Carol Ferris, you will know my sorrow. And I don't know what's up with that because like literally this one panel, it's very weird. Um, but I'm enjoying this book. It's very fast paced. It's very action. Everything I want in a Green Lantern book. Um, it ties into Absolute Power a little bit. So Jeremy Adams, continue to please write good Green Lantern for me. I will love you forever. Um, and then in the backstory, there's a mini story about Shadow Lanterns that was kind of cool too. So, breakfast. Um, fuck. Uh, I'm giving this a bowl of multigrain, like multigrain raisin bran, and a cup of coffee. Like it's just it's got that sugar coating. It's good for you. It's got some protein in there. Like that's just how I feel about it. It's really just good all around. So make sure you guys check it out.
All right, we got Halverine for the conclusion. This is the last book, a quickie 4 book series here. Um, basically, we left off with Wolvie Holden Dakin as the demon tries to repossess Logan. And as he is doing that, of course, Dakin is life is slowly draining away because the demon was the only thing kind of holding him together. Now, I'm going to shut this off because it's getting on my nerves. There we go. And as that's going on, the Lieutenant Townsend is going through that I guess metamorphosis into one of those demon hell soldiers, because he made the doc do it, because he wants to try to rescue the lone soldier that's still left from the group that was attacking and went berserk. Um, Meanwhile, the general, he is full on. I'm gonna try to uh, make hell part of the U.S. government, which kind of ironically kind of already is, but uh, and he's also trying to resurrect the Secretary of State, which he killed, and try to
Oh,
yeah, it's like one of those it is a real bloody mess. It's a good story in general. The art's, of course, pretty good. Um, was it Lieutenant Townsend finds the lone demon soldier and kind of gets that soldier back to their senses a little bit. Um, Meanwhile, Wolverine rejected the demon and put him back into Daken, which was like a really cool process.
Hmm.
So he is back now to like full Daken. He remembers everything, you know, his mind is clear where he was just randomly doing actions and everything, so he's kind of back to normal. Uh he even has his claws like back, like you were complaining about the way his claws were before. He does have the claw in the forearm,
So it's back to the two on top and the one underneath.
one on the bottom, yeah.
Okay,
Only
cool.
it's bone, it's like bone flames now,
Oh,
which
interesting.
is kind of cool. It's kind of a cool little like thing. They're in a diner, they're chowing down, like Wolverine's trying to make sure everything is cool with them, but he's also warning him, hey, I've had this thing in me. I know what it wants, this, that, and the other. And Dakin's like, well, I'm gonna turn this into something good. So basically we're kind of getting the Ghost Rider where he's trying to turn the curse into something he can control.
Right.
Meanwhile, the general's still trying to do the plan, forces the doctor to resurrect the Secretary of State. They're heading towards the White House. That's the plan. Um, that's when Daken and Wolverine stop them. And with a little bit of help of Lieutenant Townsend and the other demon soldier, they basically just beat the living crap out of the general. Um, took care of the Secretary of State. Like Wolverine literally runs her over with his motorcycle, puts her head in the wheel, and just slams the gas, and you just see the splurge coming out of the. This is a really like grotesque, hardcore, not for the faint of heart, kind of thing here, which fellow Wolverine fans are gonna, generally enjoy this. But they kind of figure everything out. Um, the the government program is ongoing now, but it's headed up by the doctor who's changed her ways, Lieutenant Townsend, who's still of sound mind and in control of everything, and the recruit. So they're going to be running it without the general because they sent him back to hell. Because apparently this was all like Mephisto's giant idea of doing things. So, and Daka goes off and he is going to fight evil now. So cool. He's not dead anymore. And now he's Wolverine with Ghost Rider powers. In
Interesting.
general, I think they could have extended this a little bit more. This seemed a very quick story. Um, the like I said, the art is solid. Not going to complain about the art. Uh, Give me like scrambled eggs, little bit of pepper jack cheese on top. Um, Lots of meat. Like the one thing Dakin did do in this book was they just he kept eating hamburgers at this diner. They literally had like a gigantic plate of burgers and he just swallowed the shit whole. So might as well add the meat to
Jeez.
that, you know. And
Mm,
we'll do some OJ to wash it all down there. It Like I said, it was an okay book, a very quick book. Not as good as the first appearance of Helverine, but a good introductory quickie, like because they said this is going to continue. They're going to
mm.
do a Helverine second volume, I guess. So we will see where this goes from here.
Cool.
Yep.
My second book is Defenders of the Earth, #1,
I
by Dan
I oh,
DiDio.
I almost did this one.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so Dan DiDio, Jim Calafiore. Um, I'm. I think it's funny that they put an extra A at the end of his name on the front cover. So California. California. Um, but anyway, so if you guys don't know who the defenders of the Earth are, so it's the Phantom, it's Mandrake, it's um, Flash Gordon, and uh, Lothar. That's the black gentleman on the left. So back in the day, like these guys were like mostly comic strip characters.
Yes.
Um, and then they eventually got their own stuff, but they were like big pulp characters from back in the day.
Yep.
Um,
You could say they were almost the first official team of superheroes before
Probably
Justice
were.
League, before Justice
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Society.
yeah,
These guys were around well before that point in time.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
think technically the Phantom is the oldest out of all of them, and
Probably.
he's technically the first masked superhero in a comic book. It's always one of those iffy, you know,
Was it comic book or comic strip?
it's
Because I
con
they didn't.
it could be it's comic strip, but they also he was also in comic books before Superman. So it's, more people know him from the strip than from the comic book. So you got to look at
Um,
it through that way, I think.
yeah, I'll do
Because
some research on that when we.
as a Phantom fan, it's I definitely remember reading a lot of Phantom stuff on in the funny papers on Sunday, you
Yep, me
know.
too.
But I also was a big fan of the cheesy late 90s Phantom movie
Oh
with
yeah, that was terrible. I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
Um,
very
and then there
pulpy.
was. Oh yeah, yeah. And then there was the Phantom 2099
Cartoon
um
show. Yes.
cartoon. It was on right after the Marvel Action Hour, so that was
Yep.
cool. Um,
It's on
and then
Amazon
obviously
Prime
Flash
now,
Gordon.
actually.
Really?
Yes. I was starting rewatching it.
Wow. And then obviously Flash Gordon had a movie. Um,
Yes.
and but anyway, so this starts out in 2020. Um, and it's Earth's war with Mongo, which is the planet that Ming runs. Um, Ming the Merciless. So it's pretty much like Mandrake and Phantom are kind of holding their own. They're kind of the last stand. Lothar comes in and starts breaking up a bunch of these robots. Then all of a sudden they just stop, and you see uh, all of a sudden out of this giant flame comes Ming's head, and then Flash Gordon walks out, and he's like, "The war is over." And then it kicks 2024, um, where Flash Gordon has like a company, and his son, who was his sidekick, is trying to get in there and to see him because the anniversary of his mom's death, and he's like, they're like, no, you can't come in. He's like, well, whatever, and he like fixes the system because he's the one who wrote all the code for it. Um, he goes up, and his dad's just too busy to meet with him, and he's like, I'll be down in an hour. Go down to the cafeteria restaurant, and the whole time he's like talking to Lothar's kid, like the like Flash's kid is talking to Lothar's kid, and they're just kind of venting at each other. And his Flash's assistant comes down and is like, "Hey, hate to tell you this, but he's not coming." Um, so he had basically given him his credit card, so his kid bought everyone drinks in the entire restaurant. It was pretty nuts. And then you find out that Lothar and his kid are moving back to Africa, and Mandrake is helping him move out, and the Phantom's just kind of there, like kind of walking around, just kind of being there. Mandrake tells Lothar he's not going back with him because he's going to be a magician again and actually go out and do the circuit. And Phantoms is like, I'm just not feeling good. I don't know what's going on. You then later find out that Phantom's daughter is Lothar's ex-wife, right? And
Oh my.
uh, yeah, and she's supposed to be running the seven tribes, but they're going back because someone. The rumors are that the ghost who walks has returned, and he's like, "That's impossible. I'm over here the whole time." Cut to Africa, same time, and it's actually the Phantom's brother and his daughter, who is Lothar's wife, who are both being Phantoms, um, and they're both kind of like reclaiming the world for themselves. So I'm kind of interested in this because it's got a little bit of Phantoms stuff in it more than anything else. Um, but I give this like a I don't know, like a tremendous 12, like or a lumberjack slam, because it is a lot of stuff, and it is very like old school breakfasty.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Surprised
just
you
like
just
it a
didn't
lot.
say steak and eggs.
Nah, no, it's a little more like it. I mean, it'd be a little more like bacon and eggs with like toast, like that kind of like traditional breakfasty.
Yeah.
Um, but I really dig it. I think this book is pretty good. I did review the Flash Gordon one a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, this book's really good. Well, so is this one. They're not doing a Phantom or a Lothar or a Mandrake book yet.
No.
Um, but this book is supposed to be at least 4 issues, and Flash Gordon I think is 6. They're all out on Mag Cave Studios. Um,
I think the Phantom there's issues with copyright stuff. So it's like one of
I
those
don't
things
know. I mean,
because it's
I
not
think they're
public
all
domain. I know that, for
well,
sure.
Mandrake, Lothar, and Flash Gordon are.
Yeah, but I think
So
I don't think the Phantom is though. But I could
I'll
be
I'll
wrong though.
I'll check when while you do your next book.
All right, we got Wolverine Deep Cut. Now this is from last week. This is number 2. The first Deep Cut book was him killing Sabretooth, and Wolverine's like, this is way too easy. I never beat Sabretooth like this, which is always funny. Um, so you're starting the book, and it's him like training in the woods shirtless, and you're seeing flashbacks of when the Marauders attacked the X-Men and killed a bunch of mutants, and it's a lot of flashbacks from the deep cut of like the Claremont era. um and as he does this, he's thinking of the plan in his head on how he's going to take on the Marauders. um and he finds their hideout because it's Wolverine, and he sniffs them out. Um, and he breaks in and just takes them on. He pretty much beats up, uh, was it Blockbuster, kicks his butt. Um, Riptide thinks he has him. He actually kills Riptide. Um, and then the rest of them are sitting there trying to scramble and figure out how they're going to do this. The scrambler gets a hold of him, and of course, like messes him up real good. Like you're seeing like a claw coming out of his nose and stuff. It's like a really weird thing that they do to the scrambler does to Wolverine's body. But even to that, Wolverine like rushes. I forget who he rushes, but he grabs someone with his hand that's on the floor, that's like a foot, and just beats the crap out with that. Unscrambles himself, and he continues to just beat on them all. Um, And as he's doing this, they break into another wall of this uh underground hideout. And he's like, I've never been able to beat Sabretooth like that. And he's like, I've never been able to beat a group of super powered heroes like this either. He's like, so this means you guys aren't real either. Um, and lo and behold, you see the Mr. Sinister tanks of clones everywhere. And that's basically how the book ends. This was like super quick. Um, so I'm assuming the next issue is going to be about Wolverine finding Mr. Sinister, probably going to kick his butt. Um, it, this was okay. Um, I said the first one was really, really good because it was just Wolverine versus Sabretooth. This one was kind of like no one cares about the Marauders. No one has cared about the Marauders for a long time. So, this was kind of like just kind of showing off Wolverine what he can do and just showing, hey, Mr. Sinister is doing his clone thing again. Not really inspired uh idea. I mean, it's written okay. And like I said, the art is pretty decent as well. Um, but I'm gonna give me like a hard-boiled egg. Like this is not like anything spectacular. Uh, Probably my first like Wolverine book that I've actually been disappointed with. Of all the ones they put out this year, this has to be probably down on the bottom for me. Uh, Not because like he wasn't cool. It's just a boring story so far. So
Yeah, all right. So here we go. Oh shit. I want that one. So, in the order of appearance, Flash Gordon, January 7th, 1934.
okay,
Mandrake, June 11th, 1934. Phantom, February 17th, 1936.
okay.
So
Still
Flash
before
Gordon is the
Superman
oldest.
though.
Oh
Still
yeah, yeah,
before
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But most of these guys were in strip form until like almost the 40s.
Okay.
So, um, so yeah. But it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And this is actually interesting because Wikipedia is basically saying that the um, the book uh, like the book that I just reviewed is actually a continuation of the cartoon. Like it's actually in that universe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what everybody's doing? Is just doing a continuation of a cartoon from like the
Yeah.
90s. That seems to
Yeah.
track. Uh, because I do remember the Defenders in the 90s. It didn't last very long. I mean, it was like
No.
half a season. It didn't even last a full
No, it
season.
was more than that. It was like, hold on, let me see. I just closed that window.
It felt like it was only like one season.
It went one season, but it was 65 episodes
Yeah. Okay.
because it was half-hour episodes for like they, they were half-hour episodes, but they were weekly. Except there must have been a couple more like it's like a year and 2 months worth of episodes
Yeah.
because they were weekly.
He-Man did the same thing. It was
Yeah,
like there were more
yeah, but
seasons in
He-Man was
He-Man.
daily. It was
Yeah.
weekdays, right?
Yeah.
This was not weekdays. This was just weekends, I thought, but
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've watched it. Anyway, sorry. Did you rate this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I gave it a hard
Okay.
boiled egg.
Nice.
And that's because it's not oatmeal bad, but it's just that level, that slight level above. Like I
Okay.
said, it was
I got you.
not my favorite Wolverine book of the year. That's for sure.
Well,
And I hate doing that to
that's
Wolverine books. So
what? You giving a Wolverine book a bad review? Never. All right. My last book, X Factor 1. Um, this was the most messed up X Factor I've ever seen. Um, so it starts out where you find out that X Factor is basically now a government agency, um, and it's like the government's superpower team, right? And
so basically
um,
Alpha Flight-ish.
yeah, except the use of social media, right? Um, so you have Angel leading the team with Fire Fist, who apparently says he was an original member of X Factor, and I'm like, I don't even know who this dude is. Um, but he may be
He's
one of
not
those.
original.
He might have been
Okay.
one of those displaced characters like Spider Boy. Um, and I was gonna look into that a little later.
That might come into later play, but he was not part of the original X Factor.
Yeah, I was like the original Factor were the original lineup. Angel was part of
Yes.
it. Yeah. So then there's Zyber, who is he can do like electromagnetic pulses. Um, Feral, who is a classic New Mutant,
Yep.
um, or X Force, X Force,
No, she
X
was
Force.
New Mutant,
No, no, we're thinking of Rain,
right?
and that's different. Yeah, Feral was on X Force.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, all the lupine,
yeah,
it's so
yeah, yeah,
hard to
yeah.
keep track of them all
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
Then
they
there's
all look the
Cameo,
same.
right? Then there's Cameo, who is a shapeshifter. Um, and while like they're trying to introduce the new team, um, like it cuts to Havoc and Polaris, and Havoc's like, I just want to be part of like I tried out for a team. I really just want to be part of a team. And Angel's having this discussion with this guy, like their government liaison about like, so what happens if we die? And he's like, oh, I have other people to replace you. And he's like,
Yeah.
what? And he's like, yeah, like Frenzy and a couple other people. And it's like, what? Um, so it was interesting because he also mentioned like how he's like, oh, they're gonna like people are gonna go nuts for you when you go into Archangel mode. He's like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I thought you were supposed to pay attention. Um, and I forgot about that because I think that's from like a Krakoa thing. I think like when he was reborn.
Yeah.
Um, like he was reborn without the apocalypse poisoning in him. Um, but it says it's from X Men from the Ashes, which I have not read. Anyway, so uh, Polaris and Havoc are having a fight because she's like, "Don't call me Lorna. I'm Polaris. I'm a mutant. I'll always be a mutant only." And he's like, "I just want to protect everyone, both our people and humans." And no, and then you find out that the old Russian Dark Star team, um, has created a team of their own called X Term. Um, so Dark Star is kind of running that. So they somehow trigger X Factor to go and kind of, I don't know, like I don't know what the word I want to say, like liberate X Term or destroy X Term. So there's like a funny moment where um Zyber's like I don't want to die, and uh Fire Fist is like just jump out the freaking window or out the door, and Angel's like no one's gonna die. He throws him out the door, and he's falling, and Angel comes flies by and picks him up. He's like, oh my god! He's like rookies.
Jeez.
Um, so they land their Blackbird, and um, Cameo turns into a X-Term guard, and kind of infiltrates their guards. Um, X-Term is kind of like a he's almost like a cannonball, but with his arms, right? Um, so they have a big fight. Darkstar shows up. They have a big fight with them. Um, the they use a whole lot of C4. It blows up X-Term. Feral is either dead or clinging to life. Um, Angel is injured. Cameo is either dead or clinging to life. Um, this
While
it
killing him
felt
off in the
very like
first issue.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It felt very interesting about how they're killing off all these people right at the beginning. It was almost like the beginning of the Suicide Squad movie, like where
Eh,
they're just like they just kill everybody. Um, so then they cut and you see Angel in the hospital, which is really funny because his wings are all bandaged up too. Um, and their liaison guy's like, "Oh yeah, we put the team together and like they're gonna be fine." So then it's like say hello to your new X Factor team at the end of at the end of the issue, which is Havoc, Cecilia Reyes, Granny Smite, Frenzy, Pyro,
eh.
and Zyber. Yeah. So it's like, what the hell happened? Um,
I wondered
so it
why Pyro's on the cover. I was like, that looks like Pyro to me. I'm like, okay. So we're
right,
slamming in Brotherhood of Mutants in here with
which
this,
is
huh?
interesting because that on the cover is Pyro,
Yeah.
and there's Havoc and Cecilia and Feral, but none of the other newer people are on that team either. Like, so I don't know what the team's actually gonna look like when it's all said and done.
Hmm.
Um, but this is the fourth Havoc team, fourth team where Havoc has been on it for
Hmm.
X Factor, and we'll see how it goes. Um, I I like it. It's just weird because it's it's
I've
not
never been a
quite.
fan of the X Factor part of the
Oh,
X-Men. Just
I like the first three volumes. Four, actually, no. I don't think there's an X Factor volume I didn't like because the first volume went started with the original team and then moved into the more '90s team where it was Havoc and Lorna and Multiple Man and Strong Guy and Rain and somebody else is on that team that I can't remember. And then after that, the next version of it when it rebooted after the Madrox dupes went out and won, um, uh, it won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because he sent his dupes out to learn a bunch of shit and then he reabsorbed them all and then he went on to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It was
eh.
great. And he founded X Factor Investigations, which was Multiple Man, Strong Guy, Rain, Monet, Darwin, Quicksilver, Siren, Shatterstar, Longshot. Every once in a while was on a couple of issues, and then after that was over, then it became the Gambit, Havoc, Lorna, somebody else team, and then it was like the Krakoa team, which was like North Star, Aurora, um, uh, Dakin, Cipher, somebody else. I'm missing somebody. It's another girl, I think. Um, but it was great. Like that whole team was awesome. And now this is the next one. So I've never had an X Factor book that completely sucked. Um, although the Gambit led team wasn't my favorite. But if you see a bunch of memes of Gambit with cats, that's where that comes from.
Ah,
Like, yeah. So I'm gonna give this book. Um, I'm gonna give this book mystery Pop Tarts. Like a sealed pack where you don't know what it is. It
Yeah.
just says Pop Tarts. You don't know what flavor. That's why. Like I because you don't know what you're gonna get with this book. Like which team is gonna be the permanent team? What's going on?
Yeah.
Uh, but I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. Um, I hope everybody checks it out. I also like this cool X Factor logo thing they got going on their uniforms. Um, I kind of like that a lot. It's very uh, Matrixy to me. So
It feels like, was it the little symbols for Blade, the movie
yeah,
that the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
vampire tribes have? And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
this is what it feels like to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, your last book. Do it.
All right. We got the trifecta of Wolverine books this evening. We
That's
got the
true. All the
Wolverine.
only books that you did were Wolverine.
Well, I was gonna do like the Uncanny from last week, but I was like, oh, I'll just stick to a Wolverine theme this week. It's all good.
So many
This is
Wolverines.
Wolverine annual number one from the last volume. This is Wolverine versus the Infinity Watch, the new Infinity Watch, not the Warlock 90s that everybody like most people like kind of love just because it was so out there, this, that, and the other. This is the uh, see, I'm not familiar with the current Infinity Watch, except these two characters that popped up in this book. Um, we get Apex, which is I guess the stones now have physical form, is what this is. Like they took over the bodies of uh people, and
Okay.
this is what it is. So Apex is the Power Stone. And the dude here that kind of looks like a Kid Vision is Multitude, and he is the Soul Stone given form. Um,
Mm.
the book starts off of Wolverine in uh, Vancouver, Canada, which, surprise, surprise, Wolverine in Canada happens all the time. But it's he's kind of doing a ritual type thing. He's getting flowers from these people who've known him for literally decades. They kind of joke, around, and he's driving along the road in his motorcycle, and Apex and Multitude here are they're looking for the other Infinity Stones, is basically what the gist of this is. And because Wolverine has touched the Infinity Stones, have been involved in the Infinity Stones, um, Multitude goes, I'm sensing there is like something having to do with the Infinity Stones, but not exactly an Infinity Stone. And of course, Apex seems to be the hot headed type here, where he's like,
Mm.
well, where is this coming from? And he points down, there's Wolverine riding his motorcycle, and he's like, Apex does not know who this is, because apparently he is a prince that is from somewhere in the universe, so he has no idea who Wolverine is. Multitude, however, is trying to say, no, this is a Earth hero. You don't want to mess with him. Leave him be. But he comes down and he's like, join our Infinity Watch or else type deal. And Wolverine's like, not today. I am kind of doing something. I am going to give you a pass. Please, go away so I could do like finish doing what I was doing. And Apex is like, no, you join or we get rid of you. So he starts like beating on Wolverine. And because he is essentially the Power Stone, he is beating the living crap out of him. As he's doing this, they're on a bridge. There are civilians all over the place, and Apex apparently isn't giving a crap about the civilians. Uh, Doing the whole, empathy is weakness type shit. And Multitude's like, this is not what we are here for. This we're supposed to be heroes. We're not supposed to caught. We're not supposed to be the villains. Um, but finally, like Wolverine's like, okay, that's it. I was trying to be a nice guy, so he starts fighting back, and you know, Wolverine does get some good licks in because apparently the stone powered down for a little bit. So he Apex was just kind of normal superhuman strength instead of infinity enhanced superhuman strength. So Wolverine was literally just beating the crap out of him. But then when he goes for the kill, he hears a familiar voice and he turns around and he sees Rose. For those who don't know who Rose is the basically Wolverine's first love uh, that he grew up with from the back in the day, the origin tale. This was the girl that this is why he loves redheads, pretty much, And basically, Multitude said because he is the part of the Soul Stone, he can communicate with spirits of the spirit realm, which, obvious, it's the Soul Stone. So here's Rose calming Wolverine down, saying, I forgive you. This was not you no, you're what happened back in Origins was not your fault. And you've been doing a lot of good since then, kind of very good, and it's got Wolverine basically on his knees crying. Apex tries to take advantage of this, and then Apex hears some familiar voices going, don't you dare. Turns out it was his whole like family, his mother, his father, his brother, because apparently when the Power Stone took over him, he destroyed his entire planet. So basically, you're seeing like all his family and subjects that he cared about, saying, "How dare you bring shame upon, the name, the Apex, like whatever his royal name was. It's some long convoluted last name. I'm not gonna, recall, but you literally see his brother spit on him. You see this soul spit hit him in the face. It was kind of interesting. And going, how dare you shame, the family, blah, blah, blah. And they basically guilt him to wanting to die. And he asked Wolverine to, kill him. And Wolverine's like, no, you have baggage. I know how that is because, it's Wolverine and he knows how it goes. But they fix the bridge. They move on, like the Infinity Watch moves and does their thing. Wolverine goes back, and you find where him and Rose lived during the origin story. The cabin is still there, and you see Rose's tombstone sitting there. So he was kind of doing Wolverine's kind of doing the Batman thing with his parents and crime alley type thing. Um, this was good actually. This is like actually my favorite Wolverine book. And usually an
Yeah,
annual doesn't really, thrill me, but this was actually pretty good just because it was a good callback to Wolverine's beginnings. I'm gonna give this a solid scrambled eggs. Give me some cheddar cheese, uh, some bacon. This is give me a full on good breakfast with this. This was a solid book for an egg.
that's awesome. All right. Oh, Lord. Oh, well, um, the only thing I have to talk about that's not the comics we just talked about is so I watched the last season of Umbrella Academy, and it was actually pretty good. Like I was really scared that it was just gonna suck. Um, because I didn't really like season 3. I thought season 3 was pretty boring. but it actually went pretty good. And it was only 6 episodes, so it went quite quick. Um, the thing I noticed in the entire show is that even though it's now, they all use rotary phones. Like no one has a cell phone.
You were telling me that
Um,
earlier. I was like
yeah,
chuckled.
yeah.
So you don't have any.
The only cell phone you see is in the very last episode, like 30 seconds before the credits roll, and that's
Huh.
it. Yeah.
So you don't have any opinion about the Daredevil trailer?
Oh, I didn't see it yet.
Oh,
I
that
imagine it will creep into my social media soon.
it is very Netflix
Good.
Daredevil.
I mean,
And I
that's
mean
what we all wanted. So,
first season, second season Daredevil, the good stuff. It looks
eh,
very street level. It's not, you know, I gotta save the world type stuff. This is him and Kingpin, classic, like um I think they said they're taking this from the Daredevil Reborn storyline.
even though they did that Reborn storyline already.
No, I don't think so. Not
Hmm?
I
Well,
think this
sort of. So they did. They took elements of it. The last season on Netflix was 80% the Reborn storyline.
okay. This is
Um,
more like I think this is more dealing with the Kingpin. Uh this is where like it says it so in the trailer, so don't, you know, it's not spoiler. This is when Kingpin knows that Mac Murdock is Daredevil
hmm,
because they are sitting at a table and he's basically gives the Kingpin an ultimatum.
hmm.
And he's like, well, is this Matt Murdock giving me this? Or is this your dark alter ego?
Oh,
And so this has me intrigued on maybe Disney fixed this and this is going to be really good. But you do see that there are 4 Daredevil masks. You get like a
oh, that's
snippet
cool.
of 4. You get the yellow, the classic red. You get the black with the red eyes, and then
Okay,
there's a fourth one that I'm not sure where it comes from, and it's kind of in the shadows, so you don't quite see it, but you know it's another helmet. So I'm intrigued to see where this goes. You know, and also congratulations to Wolverine, uh, Deadpool Wolverine, whichever you want to call it, for the $1 billion. So much for comic book movies sucking or not making money.
right.
Although I still have seen quite a few people still complain and moan, going, "Well, this didn't really fix the MCU." And the rebuttal that I've seen numerous times is this movie was not meant to do that. This was meant to have a good time, have humor with it, and don't take it on face value because it's
Right.
Deadpool and it's not supposed to be taken seriously. So, and the guy's like, well, I don't know, blah blah blah, and it's these poor saps get berated all in the comic. It's just like, dude, have you ever read a Deadpool book ever? Like,
Right.
quit trying to make sense of a Deadpool movie. It's
Well,
not
like I
supposed
said,
to
like
be.
I just wanted a little more plot. That's all, just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
But I also enjoyed the shit out of it. Like I still have a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Oh yeah, but some of these
All
guys,
right.
you know how it is. Some people are just never satisfied. It could have been the most perfect movie ever, and they'd still be like, I still don't like Wolverine being 6 foot tall. Bleh. Just the constant complaining. Even with a movie that in general most of us are happy with.
All
So
right. We're gonna go through these real quick because I want you to tell me which one you think that extra one is because I haven't seen the trailer, so it'll be fun.
okay.
So these are all of Daredevil's costumes
Yes.
so far. in the comics.
Yes.
So the classic yellow and red.
Yes,
Did we
that was in
see that
there.
one? Yeah. There's the classic red.
That was in there.
Okay. Armored Avenger.
I think that was the black with the red eyes. Yes, I think
Okay.
that was,
Okay.
and that was from the third season, correct?
Right, which is the Scott McDaniel designed
Yes.
one, which is great. So even though that's Mark Bagley. Okay. So then there's Man Without Fear, which is just the
We saw
mask.
that in the first season.
This is he is a completely different one. Like it's just a different guy,
I
I
don't
think.
think that's this.
Yeah.
So that's not that.
There's Scarlet Samurai,
I don't think that's
uh,
it.
Shadowland.
I think that might be it, just because of
I
how dark
really
the
hope
helmet
that
was.
that would be it. I really hope that would be it because it's awesome. An actual suit, Venomized Daredevil, Purified Daredevil.
There's no, you do see there is White Tiger is in this series.
Oh, that's awesome. Is
Yes,
it the dad or the daughter?
I think it's both.
Oh, cool. Because
Because I
like,
think, I
well,
think
he'll
he,
probably die
yeah,
and
he'll
she
die
passes it
during the
on. Yeah,
series and then she takes up the mantle,
yeah.
which is
Okay.
fine. That's
Yeah,
for,
comics.
yeah, it's comic accurate. We're not going to complain about that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's, well, most reasonable comic people won't complain
So you and I
about.
won't bitch about it,
Yeah,
but like
the usual gatekeepers probably will.
Chip and Tim will probably bitch about it. But
Eh, I don't think.
just saying, just saying. Well, they're gonna
No,
bitch about it because they're gonna be like, oh, like they never put it. Like it's they haven't put anything good out in a long time. Not as good as the Netflix
although
show.
no, Chip wants Harry Cavill to be Wolverine. He likes the
Mm,
idea. He's like,
I think it's a good idea too. So
yeah,
I think it'd be a good idea, a good option at least.
yeah. Even if they just do a variant version and he could just be the variant version, I'd still be happy with that. But yeah,
Yep.
it's I think that's about it. It's been very, very quiet. Like I know what the was it the Agatha is coming out in October for Halloween.
September, actually.
September, late
Yeah,
September
it's
though.
gonna end around Halloween. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it doesn't look bad. I watched the trailer a couple times to get the gist of it. They're doing very horror-esque with it, which is fine. I'd rather have them dabble with the horror aspect. Like,
They dabble with horrors. Just
yeah.
kidding.
But I'd rather see them dabble with that than try to make this some sort of superhero-esque thing, because I don't think that's what this is.
I agree.
I think this is going to be more geared toward the horror genre, which is fine, which you should. You're dealing with dark magic. It's not going to be pretty. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
I
Cool.
I was going to say I think that's about. They did it. They did leak a little bit of the Marvel Zombies a little bit. I think they said it's going to be very short. They said it's only going to be maybe 5 episodes or something.
It's animated, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the
Yeah.
animated version, which I have no problem with that as long as they tell the Marvel Zombies proper story. Like,
Yeah.
if it gets as
Agreed.
close as the original Kirkman stuff, I'm cool with it. So and I think that's coming around exactly around Halloween, like end of October, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
Cool. Well, I'm tired.
same, but I
All
can't,
right.
I
Well,
got
thanks
stuff to
everybody
do.
for watching. We'll see you
Yes.
this weekend. Check out the warehouse sale. Next weekend, come to one of the 3 cool events we got going on, and we will see you around. And if you see Justin ride anything, more than welcome to come on up, say hi, say you like the show, say this show sucks, whatever you want. I get a lot of you guys that come on and or come up to me and thank us for reviewing comics on a comic
Yeah.
podcast, and not just the same shit every time. And we really appreciate that because
Yeah.
you know not a lot of comic book podcasts talk about more of the cinematic universes and the TV shows, but they don't really um, talk about comics. Oh, real quick before we go, one last thing. I have two congratulatory good jobs. Congrats on your new path. For two of my friends in the industry. One is my boy Manny, who was started off with Mad Cave, and he went to Boom. Now he's with Valiant. He's their new sales rep. The former Valiant sales rep, who is now with Ghost Machine, Danny. She and I had a great conversation today. I was congratulating her on that move, and then I also was like, whatever you can do to get Jeff Johns back in my store, or Pete Tomasi, whatever.
I was gonna
But
say,
they're both great people. They both are some of the hardest working people in the industry.
I was gonna say,
Um,
I
yeah,
have the question though that every
but
Valiant person should be asking, like, when are we going to get more Shadow Man? Why is there no Shadow Man in this current like universe here? This
I
I'm
know it's
feeling
coming. That's it.
that doesn't help. I thought you were hooked up, man. You're sitting there talking
I
about
was,
I'm friends with these people.
well,
Like,
I was,
hook
and
him up.
now she's with Ghost Machine. I gotta let Manny get his feet wet. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for all these guys. Like they all did really. They're all great people, and I'm really happy for them to be in their new positions, and I hope it does really well for them, and I hope it brings more comics into the world for people to check out because there are some good Valiant comics. There's some good Ghost Machine books. Um, not everything is Marvel and DC, and
Yes.
people need to branch out a little bit and check out some new
I
stuff.
I've
Um,
noticed people have been. I think Boom is kind of helping with that a lot. Boom is definitely breaking the mold. Image has always kind of been there.
yeah,
Yeah, so you could almost say it's instead of the big two, it's almost the big four at this point. You know,
I mean it's
it's
definitely the big three. Like I would put Image in there
yeah.
actually. Real quick before we go, then I'm gonna just see
Look up the
comic book market share.
Boom's got to be up there. Like, they have so many books coming out constantly.
Okay, here we go. So currently, Marvel is at 36% of the market. Hold on, let me see. Okay, this is um, going into quarter four of 2023. Oh, this is end of year last year. Okay. So I don't have anything super updated, but this is the end of the year last year. So Marvel was 36%, DC was 23%, Image was 12%, then Boom at 4.3%, IDW at 4.1%, Dark Horse is at 3.9, Viz Media is at 2.8, and that's a lot of manga.
Yeah.
Dynamite at 1.7, uh, Code Inasha, which is weird because I thought they were a Marvel imprint, is 1%. Titan is at 0.8%, and then everybody else is 10%. So everybody else has their 1% slice.
Yeah,
So
I
the big,
totally forgot about
so
IDW.
the big four would be, although with Boom and IDW being so close, and even Dark Horse being close, I would just say the big three are Marvel,
Yeah.
DC, and Image. And that's just gonna be how it is.
But I have noticed a lot of more people are getting Boom. A lot more people are getting
Well, yeah, because a lot of people are buying Power Rangers. A lot of people are buying,
like IDW does well because they have the Ninja Turtle
yeah,
rights. So they're always going to be kind of hanging there. They're
yeah,
putting out enough turtle books to choke a horse.
yeah.
So
You're not wrong.
so
Cool. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks so much. We'll catch you next week at our regular time and our regular day.
yep.
And
We
then,
hope
like I
so.
said,
We
go,
hope so.
yeah,
We don't have any
yeah.
other
Fingers,
concerts or anything to go
fingers
to.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Uh, But yeah, also check out our website because we do have a list of concerts we are giving away tickets for. Those will all be available at the Mills on the days that you need to go and check them out. Yeah, that's about it. So, all right, talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend.